Hello. Welcome to another exciting episode of Behind the Green Screen. I know it's been a minute, and I don't want to give you excuses. Hold on a second, because I've been chatting up quite a bit today. Um, I don't want to give a bunch of excuses, but it's just been a lot going on, and I've been extremely unfocused. And good things are going on, and not so great things are going on. And I've allowed all of these distractions and used them as an excuse for not really getting on top of these episodes, right? So, that's why I'm not trying to offer a whole bunch of excuses. I know it's been a minute. And I launched this thing, with the intent of being regular and being consistent. And I just need to get back on track with that because I do enjoy putting these episodes together, especially the OG fact checker. I do like doing research and going down rabbit holes. And so I just kind of like been doing myself a disservice as well by not really, staying on top of things. But I'm back and I've got, some interesting things have been going on. But hold on, I want to hold on one second. All right, hold on. Okay, and I'm back. Okay, yeah, I'm back. All right. So, a lot of interesting things have been going on with me right now. And one interesting thing that has happened is that I finally feel as though I have officially integrated into this new place where I live right now. Like I feel as though like okay, I understand the area. Like I feel like this is home for me, right? And the reason why I say that is because just recently I've been giving some museum tours. I think I stated before that I'm officially a docent at Smithsonian American Art Museum, and I finished my classes so that I'm officially a docent at the Renwick Gallery. Hooray, right? So now that I'm officially a docent, I got to give tours, right? Because even though it's a volunteer opportunity, still I committed to this and I finished the training. So, yeah, it makes sense to start giving tours. So, I want to do my part. And so, I had a tour, two tours actually, on 4th of July at SAM. And then I gave like a private tour to my new step niece and my brother. And so, you know, I'm starting to feel my way around the DC area. I enjoy going there, getting on the metro, and because it's a nice ride from where I live into DC. It's all practically all above ground. So, I really just enjoy like letting someone else drive me somewhere, which is why I like to hop on the metro. So, last weekend, 4th of July weekend, was the most relaxing holiday weekend I had had in a very long time. Because normally, when I get a 3-day weekend, I'm trying to catch up on something, right? And nine times out of 10 is something physical, like something you have to do with the house. So last time, I think what I tried to do on a 3-day weekend was do painting, like so it's stuff like that, but not doing anything. A term that I learned, and I did not make this up. I swear that it is a term. It's called masturdating. All right. And master dating is really just basically dating yourself. So I haven't mastered. I have not master dated in a very long time. so, so Um, last, 4th of July weekend, I master dated the hell out of I master dated. Like, boy, did I master date. Um, so I had the tour on the 4th of July, And then on Saturday, was it Saturday or Sunday? No, Saturday, I basically chilled, right? Because I have been, and then on top of that, I started doing my long distance walks again. So I overdid it as I normally do when there's been a long break and I'm feeling guilty because I haven't been working out. I basically went overboard and I was really achy. And I hadn't had one of those days where I just did absolutely nothing, like just watch TV all day. So that's what I did on Saturday. And then on Sunday, what I did on Sunday is going to be what I will discuss for this episode. And it made my Sunday very, very nice, I have to say. Okay, so I think I talked about in my last episode that I have finally bought, or maybe I didn't, I can't remember, but that I had finally bought another bookcase from IKEA. And it was so simple to put together. Like, I was expecting it to be a nightmare, as sometimes putting together IKEA furniture can be. But this time it was smooth sailing. I didn't put anything on in the wrong direction and it came together. So now all these excess books, yes, I did talk about this because I remember pointing like how empty, these bookcases are. Yeah, I remember I did mention it in my last episode. So now that I have this new bookcase, I'm like, bet that means I can get more books. Now, you guys know that for a lot of the books that I've been buying lately, even though I'm not pushing it, I've been buying my books from thrift books. But you wait for it in the mail. And so for the first time, I follow Barnes and Noble on Instagram, forgetting the fact that there is, well, I didn't forget the fact, I knew, but I knew there had to be a Barnes and Noble somewhere, but I didn't really dig in or looked into it. Come to find out, there's one in the town where I live. So I'm going to include in this episode my exploration of Barnes and Noble. And here we're going to go. This is me like walking towards the Barnes and Noble, and see how it's very nice, very classy. Not to say that not all Barnes and Nobles aren't classy. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just just like, ooh, look how nice and bright and shiny and clean it is, right? So I'm in in Barnes and Noble, and I'm like, "Ah," but I feel a little bit out of place because it's been so long since I've gone into a Barnes and Noble to buy a book that wasn't bargain, right? And I feel really out of touch with what's happening and book selling and what's hot on the bestseller list and stuff like that. I really haven't been doing that in such a long time, and not even that, but just like looking for classics to buy, things of that nature. So I'm very impressed by this. And, I'm never not impressed with a Barnes and Noble. Let's just put it that way. And for this one, I feel like it was very spacious. The one that I used to go to when I lived in Connecticut was in a mall. And I mean, it was large, but it's nothing like having a freestanding building to really feel as though you can get lost. And so I went in there and I was looking for the bargain section. And I'm walking around sort of like as though I'm lost, trying to find, because I know they have to have it, right? It must, let me, oh, okay. And I'm like, there must be a clearance rack. There has to be. And I finally find it. But I don't know, maybe it's down, maybe because it's down here, maybe it's the area. But when I used to go to the Barnes and Noble, that was, the favorite one I used to go to in Connecticut, like there would be like this whole big section of books that were marked down, you know? And so when I went in there and I finally find a section, it's like wah wah. That's what I that's popped into my head when I saw it. I was like, wah, wah. So you here's some of the footage. Let me pull this up. There we go. Here's some of the footage that you can see. Like that's their section, okay? And it wasn't even like normally the one that I used to go to would have like all kinds of books, like even stuff that were on the hot or bestseller list would be there marked down or whatever. But it wasn't that was you didn't see that at all. And the selection was very limited. I mean, you can see you see some of the books, right? Okay, so yeah, so there's those types of books and they were marked down, but I didn't really feel as though it was tempting enough for me to buy. And I was trying to stay under like a certain spend amount. I was going in there with a budget because I needed to demonstrate some sort of restraint when I was in there, right? Okay. So you can see right there, I did find a book, right? So this is the book, World Mythology, and you can see it's called the Book Annex. That's where you'll find all the books that are marked down. And like I said, they're books that they're they were basically reference books. Yeah, yes, that's what I saw. There were a couple of, you can see in the footage there that they had some fiction. I bought that H.P. Lovecraft one. Yeah, I've never read H.P. Lovecraft, but I do want to read his. I know about his life. Weird. If you haven't read up about H.P. Lovecraft's personal life, wow, wow, just weird. All right. So, and of course, I have to get a bookmark. Isn't that? I don't know if it's real gemstone. I mean, I don't think, no, it's not. It's like an enamel concentric circles thing. And then look at the tassel. Oh, my days. I saw this and, of course, an inspirational message, believe. But I saw this and I was like, yeah, this will go perfectly with, match up color wise. Yes, I do think that way when I buy a bookmark. So this one was really interesting, and the it does have Greek mythology, and you would say, well, Lisa, why would you get this book if it already has Greek mythology and you already know it? The reason why I got it is because there were other mythologies in there that I did not know about, never read about, and wanted to know more. And so one of them was I even have a bookmark. Well, I started going into Sumerian mythology. I didn't know that there was Sumerian mythology. But what really got me was what made me buy the book was this section right here. Okay, can you see that? Aboriginal Australian mythology. And where's the other one? Where's the other one? Maori mythology. Now, if you know me, you know that I am a huge Disney fan and a huge a Pixar. Let me bring this over. What's going on here? Track me, track me. Come on, come on, come on, Papa. What's going on here? So, getting back to the subject. So, you know that I am a huge Disney and Pixar fan, and one of my favorite movies is, yes, Moana. And I haven't seen Moana 2. I'm going to watch that. That's one on my list of things to binge, or not binge watch, but things of list that there's another thing on the list that I want to watch. And so I love Moana, and I recognized the mythology right away, their creation mythology, which was very interesting. And so I wanted to, when I saw that, Australian and Maori mythology was in here, I was like, okay, bet, I'll buy this because I want to read on this. And let me tell you something, the Maori, oh my days, they are off the chain with their mythology. This is so annoying. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Okay. So the Maori, they're off the chain with their mythology, right? So this is why I say this. So the movie Moana mentions the demigod Maui. That is part of Maori mythology, the demigod. So there now what you don't learn in Moana and what's in Maori mythology is that Maui dies. He's a demigod. And he is as impulsive and arrogant as they portrayed him in the movie Moana. All right. But Maui meets his match, and he meets his match with the goddess of death. Now, let me um I want to tell this mythology without being crude about it. But the goddess of death, um Hine Nui Tepo, that's the goddess of death. Um she is let me I guess I should just read it. Okay. Uh okay, her hair resembled seaweed, her mouth resembled a barracuda, and her eyes were they bright red stone. And when Maui was searching for her and when he found her, she was on her back. I'm reading this. She was on her back with legs wide open, in between which they could see sharp shards of volcanic glass and rock. This was the entrance to the underworld. Now, I'm going to read the rest of this because I don't think I can summarize it properly. Maui gallantly removes his clothes, revealing the intricate fish scale patterns of his Maori tattoos, and entered in between Hine Nui Tepo's legs with his entire body. Although he had begged his avian friends, he traveled with a bunch of birds. I won't get into that. Um, Although he had begged his avian friends not to make a stir until they saw him emerge from the goddess's mouth. So basically, he enters through her hoo ha and exits out her mouth, or was supposed to exit out her mouth. The reason why I say supposed to is because, let me finish that sentence. Although he had begged his avian friends not to make a stir until they saw him emerge from the goddess's mouth, the absurd scene was too much for one little bird who let out an excited chirp of laughter. Ine Tue Tepo awoke immediately and crushed Maui in two with her razor sharp vagina, and he became the first living thing to die. It is because of Maui's experience that all Maori people must experience death. I fell out. Do you hear me? After I read that part, I fell out. I was like, it is crazy. No wonder they cleansed it for Moana. They cleansed that for Moana. Right? So there's Sumerian mythology that's in here. And so that's where the bookmark is for that. And what else is in here? And it's cute because the book is called World Mythology in Bite-Sized Chunks, and it's by Mark Daniels. All right, so that's the book. I should have introduced that. I was very bad. Boo on me. So they have Australian and Maori mythology in here. I should just show you. Sumerian mythology, and then Egyptian mythology. And I've always liked Egyptian mythology. I do know about it. And as a matter of fact, I learned about it in college. I took a world mythology course. And of course, you can't discuss world mythology without incorporating Egyptian mythology. So, but it's always nice to reread it because their creation stories are just as violent, huh, as Greek mythology, as far as cutting off of men's private parts. I don't know what is it about these mythologies where they're always introducing some male getting castrated. It is, or their seed creates monsters, or it creates goddesses that come out of the water on a half shell. Just, I don't know what people were thinking back then. Right. So what was also interesting was all the other mythologies, right? So you can see Chinese mythology, American Indian mythology, right? So I want to know the importance of the eagle and stuff like that. I think I kind of jumped ahead. I can't remember. I think I might have jumped ahead when I was looking and I was like, yeah, that's why I'm going to get this book. And then South and Central American mythology, and that resorts to or is about the Mayans, the Aztecs, and the Incas, right? And so under American Indian mythology is going to talk about spirits and rituals and myths of the plane, and then they have Greek, and then Roman mythology. And if and if you're into Greek mythology, then you know that the Romans basically stole, what's the word I'm looking for? Not misappropriated, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess you can say that. No, that's not the word I'm looking for. But they basically stole Greek mythology, the Romans did, and they basically like slapped names on it and tried to pass it off as they invented it. So that's why there are two names for, like there's Zeus and there's Jupiter. That's basically the Romans just, taking that mythology and using their own names on it. It's the same stories, more or less. Some of them are a bit slightly different, but you know so there's that. And then there's Norse mythology. Now, um I know more Norse mythology, and the reason why I do is because of Neil Gaiman. Now, I know right now, and you haven't heard anything about what's going on with him because he was hit with sort of like a misconduct thing, under the Me Too stuff, and you haven't heard a peep about it, or I haven't seen a peep about it since. But Neil Gaiman, and I like his use, how he uses mythology and how he writes about it. And if you've ever heard of his book, The American Gods, it's not called it's just called American Gods, and it's about this war between all the old goddesses and the old gods and goddesses and the new. Very interesting series. It was on Stars back in 2017. That's when it was first broadcast. I have the entire season. You can find it on Amazon Prime, and on Stars, naturally, if you have a subscription to Stars. But Neil Gaiman wrote American Gods, and he also wrote Norse. I forget the name of the book. I think he just called it Norse mythology. I think he called it something really simple. But I bought the audiobook, and I was listening to it, and when I needed to get to sleep because I had trouble going to sleep, and I found that when I would play an audiobook and I set a timer for 20 minutes, I was out like a light under 20 minutes. So I would have his Norse mythology read to me, and just very interesting, fascinating creation stories there as well. And so when I saw that in here, I was like, oh, it'd be nice to revisit all the gods and goddesses from Norse mythology, because their creation stories are nuts, man. I'm telling you, like Thor dressing up as a woman to fool this troll, and it just all kinds of just weird stuff. And I was just like, yo, what the hell? You have the frost giants and that whole thing, and Loki. Oh my God. Loki is every bit the mischief maker as he's, in the Marvel universe, for reals. So yeah, so that's why this book really, I was just like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go and get this because I have the room to store it someplace now. I don't feel guilty about getting another book. And I'm going to learn some new stuff, about the Chinese mythology. No, I mean, believe it or not, I don't know any Chinese mythology, the animals and the creatures. And I have a book on Japanese mythology creatures also that I bought from the gift shop at the Asian Art Museum, the National Asian Art Museum in near the Smithsonian and near the National Mall, on the National Mall practically. And they have an awesome gift shop, really dope gift shop. And I'm impressed with the books that they got because not only do they have anime, but they have manga or manja. I think it's pronounced manga, right? I'm sure you'll correct me, but they have those books there as well. Plus, they have a whole bunch of mythology books from Japan and China, and I think a couple from India, and also from Southeast Asia that are there too. And you could go nuts in that store. I mean, really, if you are in the area, or if you ever come down to this area and you want to explore all of the museums that are along the National Mall, just the National Mall by itself. And I think I talked about this before. One of them is the National Asian Art Museum. I think that's the proper name for it. And they have two buildings connected. You can go underground to move from one building to the next. And that's where you'll find their gift shop. Visit it. You will not be disappointed. Seriously. Yeah, there's a lot of kitschy stuff, but for the books alone, it's worth exploring. And also, they have other stuff too. Like they have incense. They have the holders for incense. They have the gong for those who practice Buddhism. They have cute little gongs that you can buy. Yeah, just and even kimonos. Like they have like clothing. So I do recommend. I absolutely. So yeah, and look at the back. I like the artwork on this book, and of course the cover. The cover was attractive to me. That this beautiful violet color was also, and look how well it matches. So that's what I've been up to. Uh, those who are out in the void that actually watch this and listen to me. Um, I do plan to get back on track, especially with the OG Fact Checker episodes. As a matter of fact, the reason why I'm doing this behind the green screen episode is because I just finished re-recording my last my episode, this episode 17 or 16, because actually I was supposed to be posting or uploading a complete OG fact checker episode for my subject. And I was editing, and I got through, I was moving along too. I was like, oh, yes, I'm going to get through this. I'm almost done. I just got to get a couple of more shots and I can upload this tonight. And then as I was getting through it, I uttered a major error that was included in my script, and it wasn't something that I could re-record, like dub in. That was my first thought. Can I dub in the correct what I meant to say? And I was like, that's going to look hella weird and that's hella lazy. So, Lisa, you need to re-record it. And here we are. So, I had to get all dolled up today. So, I figured, let me get some mileage out of this makeup and hair and record. do the OG re-record the OG fact checker, and then do another episode of Behind the Green Screen. So that's what that's all about, and also to just catch up with you. Hey, hi, how's it going? Things are getting weird out there. Yeah, really weird. But in any event, so that's it for this episode. All right. And I did this book, and again, I don't want to say that you will only find this at Barnes and Noble. I don't think it was created or written for Barnes and Noble to publish. How can I put this? Like, I think you can find this book elsewhere. It's not just at Barnes and Noble. I don't think it was created for Barnes and Noble, but go online and check it out, because again, one of these. You know how I love these little pocket books where you can just put it in a purse, put it in a bag, and you could pop it out and break, and start reading. Um, and so I I forgot my train of thought. Shit. Shit. All right, never mind. It's been a long day. If you don't recognize that, don't worry about it. It's from How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. It's one of my favorite movies that have Bob Fosse choreography, has Robert Morse and a very young and beautiful Michelle Lee. Um, and I've just gone way off topic. Any event, so yeah, so I'm going to get back on track. Oh, now I remember the reason why I covered this book was because I just got it, and I really wanted to talk about it because I was very excited about this. But I do plan to get on track with talking about other books that have been in my library for years. I have a whole stack of them all lined up. Um, so that will probably be my next behind the green screen episode. So until then, thank you for listening. Thank you for stopping by. It's a crazy world out there. You got to watch your back the minute you step out your door. But I haven't forgotten my mantra, even though it's been a while. Let's replay the mantra, right? Ready? Okay. All is well. Everything is working out for my highest good. From this difficulty, only good will come. I am safe. Namaste, and see you next time. Bye.